Alright, ladies and gentlemen, with SKIRK releasing recently, of course, everybody knows that she is an insane main DPS, one of the strongest in the entire game. Top 5, if not top 3, especially if you have her premium team with furina and escoffier. However, one thing which some people have talked about, but I haven't seen as much of, is her potential to be a dual DPS carry, especially with someone like Neuvillette. And personally, I actually really enjoy MAVUIKA double carry teams, and SKIRK double carry teams with Neuvillette also seem pretty damn strong. So you know what, maybe we're slowly entering into a meta of dual DPS carries. Maybe in Not Cry or Snezhnaya we might see more of this. Personally, I would be a big fan, because I do think they actually play pretty fun as well as pretty flexible, on top of course being very, very strong. So what we're going to be doing is, you guys have probably seen this team before, especially on discount, because it is one of my favorites to play. But we're going for our Clarande, as well as our C4 Chevreuse, as well as Ororon and MAVUIKA. All 5 stars here are C0, R0. And then Ororon is also C6, but all full character builds will be at the end. And then we have a full C0, R0 free-to-play friendly team on the second half. Well, if you don't include all the 5 stars we need. But we do have furina alongside escoffier and SKIRK. SKIRK will be on Finale of the Deep as well. And her talents aren't even fully maxed out yet. So yeah, with that being said, let's just hop right into it. Alright, well then here we are on the first chamber, and also I think I'm going to grab the healing effectiveness buff, because it will help us on our sustain, because you know, Chevreuse's healing isn't the most, and then it will also help us charge up more Furina fanfare for our second half. Anyway, here we're just going to go into our regular team rotation, making sure we apply Electro before we use Chevreuse's charge attack. And okay, that shield isn't broken, that's slightly annoying. Now we can switch back into Chevreuse to finish these guys off before we spawn in the main boss. There we go. And now I think we're just going to wait for her to spawn in her little things. Then we're going to hop on Ororon and then do this little attack to freeze them all into place. And we're just going to use Chevreuse's ult. Okay, I was hoping that was going to take out 2 targets, but never mind. So now we're just going to go ahead and spin on MAVUIKA, because why the heck not? Let this run out a little bit. Now if we can probably apply Electro from Clarande's ult. There we go. And then E on Chevreuse, EQ on Ororon. And now wait for our E. Oh, wait. Okay, I was meant to press E and then Alt to get the crit rate from Obsidian Codex. I forgot to, but I think we still, I'm pretty sure we still crit either way. So, you know, on the bright side, there is that. Anyways, here we are, about half of her HP bar down. Let's just apply Electro again. I'm actually not sure that triggered an overcharge, an overload there, if I'm being honest. So we might be missing a little bit of damage here. But either way, we're still doing a lot of hits, hitting for around 84k on our MAVUIKA. And there we go, that is the first boss down in about 75 seconds. So now we move on to our first half. What we're going to do here is, of course, we're just going to do the damage on our Neuvillette first, so that we can get a stack for a Void Rift stack for our SKIRK. Then we go into escoffier as well, and now we go for our burst just to take out these guys. And then, because this is the first chamber, we can actually still do a bit of damage on our SKIRK, because this is the hybrid playstyle you can play on the first chamber, which allows us to get quite a bit of damage off on the PMA right away, actually. So now we're just going to go back into a regular team rotation now. That's just, okay, never mind. I was going to try iframe that, but it did not work. Anyway, now we can hold our E, use our ult on our SKIRK, and now deal damage on our Neuvillette. Oh, never mind, he already hit the threshold in order to go into his enhanced form. And the crazy thing is here, first of all, we are using the Finale of the Deep artifact set, for those of you wondering, because it is more helpful for the burst playstyle. But yeah, also obviously this chamber buffs normal and charge attack damage for cryo, so this isn't even buffing burst damage. Anyway, we're just going to go back into the ult, and now we're going to use our Neuvillette's rotation to take out the PMA. And this is just what I love about dual DPS teams so much, the rotations. Because sometimes if like an enemy has 2 phases, or they bring up a shield, or you have to break a shield, it can be annoying to waste your uptime. But in a dual DPS team, you can just use your secondary DPS if your other one isn't available at the moment. So yeah, this is why I actually really enjoy these dual DPS teams, and that's why I think the Clarande and MAVUIKA ones, as well as the Neuvillette and SKIRK ones, are so fun. Because honestly, they're just way more flexible. There's way more you can do with them. So yeah, with that being said, let's move on to the second chamber and hope that point holds up. Alright, and here we are on the second chamber, now picking up an attack buff, which will be very nice for both our Clarande, MAVUIKA, as well as our SKIRK, less so for our Neuvillette, but oh well. Anyway, we use Clarande's Q once again to apply Electro, and then go into Chevreuse's hold skill, into Ororon EQ, into MAVUIKA EQ, just finish out this wave over here, and you know, we can just swap back into Clarande for a little bit of her rotation up against the Yamkasaur. The main thing is we do want to wait for him to go down after spawning in his little pyro plants. Okay, he doesn't have Electro applied. Luckily, we were able to iframe that. Otherwise, that would probably kill our Ororon. Also, I find that Ororon dies pretty easily. But, okay, yeah, yep, there we go. Those are the little fruits spawned in. Now that we've hit all of them, we can swap back into our Claran. And honestly, this Overload team is just so satisfying because, of course, Ororon's dealing hits. Claran is dealing quite a few hits as well. Mavika's dealing hits from off-field, and we can also front-load damage with her ult as well. It's just so fun. I love this team so much. We hit for over 300k there, and we're hitting for about 90k's here. I mean, this is just utterly insane. Now, let's not forget that there is, of course, a buff if you have 0 on energy in this Floor of Spiral Abyss. So the damage numbers are slightly inflated here for our Mavika. But hey, on the bright side, it's not buffing our and oh, we were actually able to snipe the Yamkuso with Ororon's skill, triggering an overload, which is actually pretty fun. And this does leave us with quite a bit of time left for this chamber, which is nice because the Seahorse can be quite annoying with its cryo shield. On the bright side, we do have Escoffier for off-field cryo application, and then we do also have SKIRK here for some on-field cryo application. Anyway, I think honestly we're just going to use Neuvillette here for this rotation so that we can save SKIRK's E for when he brings up his cryo shield. That way we'll be able to break it quicker, and then because we have some Void Rifts, we can also use our charge attack to extend the rotation for longer, or her burst as well. So as you can see, we do have the 3 Void Rifts there, so if I press Q here, we can have even more time on field, so we should be able to take out the Electro Shield here. And legit, this is just what I'm talking about, the flexibility in dual DPS teams. You just have so many options as well. I just think this dual DPS team works really, really well. Like I said, if you need to break an Electro Shield, you can just swap into your Cryo character, and then once the shield's broken, instead of their uptime being wasted, you can just switch into your Hydro character, which is basically what we're going to try and do here. And then once again, we are, like I said, we're going to be using our escoffier for off-field cryo, as well as SKIRK for on-field cryo. I don't think the Electro Charge triggered by furina off-field is contributing much. Okay, there we go. So now we can go back into our team rotation. Also, what's nice here is that Neuvillette is funneling particles into our furina as well, which is very useful. So now we can front-load some damage by using the E, the hold E, and then into the burst, which actually already nearly takes out the Seahorse. Hello, dude, this is supposed to be a dual DPS showcase, but everything's just dying to SKIRK's ultimate, even without a third support before I can show this off. So if you have any doubts about how well this team's gonna age, first of all, it's not really buffed in this Spiral Abyss. Second of all, my build isn't even that amazing, so even when the HP pools do go up, this team will still be very strong. That's why I do think this is one of the strongest teams in the entire game, because you can just front load so much damage, and then of course Neuvillette's sustained damage is pretty damn strong as well, and it's just really comfortable to play. Anyway, with that being said, let's move on to the third chamber and see if we can get a proper showcase or if everything will die too quickly once again. Alright, and here we are in the third and final chamber, and you know what, we might as well just grab the sprint buff, I guess, because it will give more buffs to our Neuvillette as well. Anyway, once again, Claran Q into chevreuse, E and Q, hold skill of course, to make sure we get all the buffs, and then Mavika EQ to front load more damage, about 250k there on all of the automatons, whatever you want to call them. And now we are left with the Capellius side. This should be pretty easy for us because they are weak to Pneumacia damage, and I don't remember exactly which one Chevreuse and Claran do, but I think that Capellius is weak to that one. So yeah, oh, okay, our Ororon got sniped and I wanted to take him off field. Can you guys just let me do my rotations, please? Thank you very much. Oh, we actually didn't crit there. We only hit for 92k instead of over 200,000, which is unfortunate. We're just going to spin on Mavika until we can get our Claran's ult up. There we go. And now we can go into our Claran's rotation. Already half the health done, which is what we like to see here. And okay, now okay, the problem is now we need to apply more pyro before. Okay, I think I switched off field there in time. No, I didn't. Okay, never mind. So we are going without Chevreuse's buffs, but luckily, thanks to the buffs in the Spiral Abyss, Mavika's probably going to be able to whittle their HP down enough. And actually, Claran's still doing some decent damage despite not getting any Chevreuse buffs or buffs from the Abyss. Of course, we do still have Syndicity from Ororon, and we were already able to clear that despite that being a pretty scuffed run. Now, I just wonder how quickly we'll take on this side. Now, of course, the unfortunate thing here is that we do need to apply more off-field, more cryo in order to be able to switch into our Neuvillette. So I'm not sure how much Neuvillette we'll see here. I mean, as soon as this bar goes down, we can play more into our Neuvillette's stuff. I think I'm just gonna go for normal attacks for this first rotation, and then, but then for the second one, we're gonna use SKIRK's ultimate and then switch to Neuvillette on field. So it's a burst and then E. I mean, burst will let us front load a bit of damage. I mean, now that the bar is a bit low, we can probably deal some Neuvillette damage, although we don't have Furina's buffs up right now. So maybe I think I scuffed that slightly. I could have played that slightly better, I think. But now we can swap back into our SKIRK as well. Go back to dealing some more damage. About 2/3 of the HP bar are gone, I do want to say. We can go, once again, we can front load some damage with Neuvillette, reset our rotation. And honestly, I'm pretty sure this guy is once again going to die from SKIRK's ultimate before I can show off a real Neuvillette rotation. So this might not be the best Abyss to showcase the potential. Actually, no, you can see that this team's doing well. Yeah, okay, cool. Now we are just going to finish this off with SKIRK for some extra style points, especially because his resistances are about to get jacked up. And there we go, we managed to clear. So although, honestly, I feel like what I should have done was just taken SKIRK's weapon off so that we could showcase more of the dual DPS side of the team. But honestly, I think this is just, with how quickly everything died, I think that honestly says a lot about this team on just purely how strong it is. So yeah, I'm not going to be complaining. I can't wait to use this team in the future even more when things won't be dying so quickly, so I can actually showcase its full potential. So be sure to look out for the Spiral Abyss reset when we can actually try out this team in other scenarios. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and let's move on to some character builds as well as the outro. Well then, as you can see, both teams performed exceptionally well, so, you know, are we entering a dual DPS meta? I'd say not quite yet, but are they some very strong team options and some of the best in the game? I'd definitely say so, because both Mavuika and SKIRK help characters like Neuvillette and Clorinde who have very good sustained damage, but suffer a bit from front-loading their damage, to really front-load a butt ton of damage, especially SKIRK. In some of those chambers was pretty damn OP. Now, of course, she did have the normal attack buff, so like the 2 occasions when we were using her normal attacks, she was killing the Seahorse as well as the Cryo Overseer quicker. But the pure burst damage, what you saw, that was purely unbuffed, and as you guys will see, my SKIRK doesn't even have a finished build yet. But first of all, let's go for the Clorinde team. For our Clorinde, we're on 58 crit rate, 207 crit damage, as well as 1.9k attack, because we are using a level 80 R5 Lion's Roar. For our builds, we have double crit here on Harmonic Whimsy, double crit on Peace as well, which is very nice for us. Constellation, she is also C0 with 110 talents. When it comes to our chevreuse, as I said, she's not actually C6 yet. 41 crit rate with 79 crit damage, 145 ER with 35k max HP on a level 60 R15 lance, because I just have so many of these to upgrade and I really can't be asked to farm some of these materials. Artifacts, she is also on Noblesse, so she is giving a attack buff to both our Mavuika as well as our Clorinde, which is much appreciated for the both of them, especially when we don't have Bennett. And oh, she's actually C2 on this count. Now, mind C4 might be on the other count, so this is a C2 chevreuse. Talents, she's also 181. For Ororon, however, 71 crit, 120 crit damage, 161 ER. With on a R5 level 90 Fav war buff for the extra Fav particles for our entire team. On the Center City set, of course, to give more damage bonus for both our Mavuika as well as our Clorinde. He is actually C6 because we did have to spend 160 wishes on Charles Banner. 180 actually, I think I ended up doing, just a couple extra. So yeah, that's how we managed to get a C6, which was actually pretty fortunate because some people will take over 200 pulls to get C6. And then 111, 12 talents as well. But then finally, when it comes to our SKIRK team, when it comes to SKIRK herself, as you can see, her build isn't actually the best. 71 crit rate, 164 crit damage. This is on Finale of the Deep. She is on a R5 level 90 Finale of the Deep weapon as well. It is funny that the set as well as the weapon basically have the same name. Our Flower and our Feather are actually pretty damn good. We do get over 35 CV, nearly 40 on both. But then for our attack stance, you know, it's okay, nothing special. Goblet, we do have an off-piece cryo damage goblet, which is once again okay. And then the problem is our circlet is absolutely terrible. We only have a single roll into crit damage. And I would reshape this, but we don't even have a second good substat, and this is only 4 rolls instead of 5, so I don't want to be risking that. So yeah, our SKIRK build, if we get a better circlet, would definitely be upgraded. It would be nice to be able to hit like 71, 170, maybe 180 even, would be very nice. But yeah, that's what we're working with at the moment. And then of course C0 with 5, 10, 8 talents, so actually this is a level 9 skill and then a level 8 burst. So all the burst damage you saw, that's a level 8 burst, not even level 10 yet. So yeah, and then like I said, C0 when it comes to our furina as well, 64 crit, 207 crit damage, 168 ER. Weapons are 1 Fav sword, and then golden troop as you'd expect, HP crit. C0 with 2 10 talents. Of course, this is 2 9 10, but gets a boost from thingy. And then for our escoffier, it's 1 9 8 talents, but of course gets a boost from SKIRK once again. It's nearly 70 crit rate, 160 crit damage, 166 ER. On a Fav Lance level 80 R1, once again, Golden Troop, attack, as well as crit damage, Constellations, C0, and then we already talked about the talents. And then finally for our Neuvillette, he's on 44 crit, which basically goes up to 80 thanks to Marseille, 217 crit damage, 125 ER on a R5 prototype Amber. For the artifacts, it's Marseille, double crit on the Hydro damage off piece, and then a bit of actually decent crit value on our crit damage circlet. And then Constellations, of course, C0 with 10, 8, 8 talents. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. As you can see, both these teams performed very well. Hopefully you guys had fun, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya.